Bon après-midi. Robert, merci beaucoup pour cette initiative. C'est un honneur à moi et à Ankabut aussi d'être ici. Je veux parler en anglais parce que comme ça sera enregistré, donc les gars chez nous, hein, ils vont le voir. Donc ça sera pas mal si on fait le knowledge sharing in the right way. Good. Today I would like to talk about not a vision, talk about our experience and the de facto results we have from few years only to provide the education and research services at no cost between brackets to our universities or our stakeholders. Good. Ankabut is directly linked to the vision of the country. The country has a vision 2021. It has two main pillars. One is to build the knowledge-based economy. And as you know, United Arab Emirates is in the Gulf. And everyone here in the room and outside, they will link their economy to the oil and gas. And they decided to go out of this economy and to build the national knowledge for Emiratis and for the expatriates to bring incubations, inventions inside the country. And the second factor is to build the first-rate education. We admit all that education in United Arab Emirates and even in the rest of this part of the world is still a commerce. It's not a direct directives from the leaders for the country. It was in the past. Now they changed mind and they said we have to go from scratch and to build the first-rate education in the country. And Ankabut, their aim to fulfill these requirements, to work hard to make this vision happen. One of the professors, he's one of the Emiratis, really very shiny in Emirates, very well known in telecommunication. He said it clearly. We don't need technology transfer. We have it. We have Internet City in Dubai. We have Masdar for the solar. We have Knowledge Village. We have a lot of things for the technology, and we are exporting the technology to the rest of the world. But what do we need? Brain. We need the brains to create knowledge. We need the brains to be transferred to the country to help in creating this knowledge. This is really a message. I think it's very well linked to the subject of this conference. Knowledge is very important. Even we have oil, even we have gas, even we have 90% of expatriates working very hard in this country. But if the knowledge is missing, I think the value of the country is on purpose. What's Ankabut is the National Research and Education Network. We are not reinventing the wheel. As you know, in each country in the world, they have National Research and Education Network. Our aim to work for the country. But also we have an international aim, this to help our neighbors to build their National Research and Education Network, and also to have the international perspective of the knowledge hub from the Emirates to the rest of the world. How? I think my last slide will explain more. Here, as you see in the North Africa and Arab wars, we have good number of Emirates. But who is the most effective? Who is making impact in the country? This is a question mark of all Emirates, specifically also Ankabut. But we held here Oman, and we held them in the consultation. And the leaders of Oman in January, they approved the creation of the ENRAN for a big budget for the next 10 years, which is a big achievement. And if you see here in Qatar, it's not an ENRAN. It's called Qatar Foundation. It's only serving a small community of universities or schools. But in Qatar as a nation, you have other universities are excluded from this one. Which Ankabut also, we flew to Doha, and we explained to them how an ENRAN should be and why we are doing an NRAN. In 2006, 5 main universities in the country, they decided to connect only these 5 and to have a sea cable to United States to be visible with the 500 US universities in United States via the Internet 2. Internet 2 is equivalent to Giant in Europe and UbuntuNet Alliance in Africa. This is the hub of universities, but it's serving only United States with more than 1,000 universities and 50,000 schools. It's really huge. And I think we were at the Internet 2 annual meeting 3 weeks ago in Arlington, Washington, D.C. But the aim is not to connect only 5 universities. The aim is, let's collaboration, as Margaret said. What do we do if we connect each other and we are not talking? We are not exchanging information. Where's the aim to connect to United States and say, hey, I'm connected to 500 universities? For which purpose? And here, a group of working group created to see how we can create a real NRAN instead of having these 5 universities. And in 2009, it was a big amount of money. Big amount, I think, if I compare what the EC is injecting in NRANs, what we have is small. You will see the benchmark. But for us, it was an excellent starting point to start this NRAN. And we got a fund in 2009. And the first thing we got was we went to the giant ISP, the domination in the country, and we asked them to lease the network. And we signed a contract for 5 years. We are paying a big bill to this ISP only to maintain the connectivity and to run the NOC. And the model of funding, that the ICT fund is a branch of the telecommunication authority in the country who make this fund, because the ICT fund is taking 1% of the profit of each ISP in the country for this fund. And they are creating ICT project. And the biggest ICT project is Ankabut. For your information, Ankabut means spider in English and araignée in French, to have an idea about the name. And Khalifa University, represented by the government of Abu Dhabi, they injected 25% in the human resources and the location of the offices. But this model would like to be like others, would like to be like in Europe, in the United States. We are a non-profit organization. It's clear for everybody. But we are managed by Khalifa University for this 5 years. Now the big question mark, after 5 years, what we have to do? The model, the international model says the members should be the owner of this network. They have to feel the importance of the network. Now we will see how they will feel the importance of the network. Ankabut at a glance and some numbers. We are the IP registry for IPv4 and IPv6 from RIPE, which is a good point for us. And we have the international link from Fujairah to New York in the mainland with actual bandwidth of 155 megabit per second. But for your information, we are paying a lot of money for this link. And this link, it was 10 megabit per second for 3 years, and nobody used it. Now, only one university, when they passed to IPv6, immediately they used the traffic, and they asked for increase of bandwidth, and we increased to 155. Now they are using it, but still, we are in the margin that we will not increase it to 622, because the usage is still modest. We have Internet 1. We are not authorized to sell Internet 1. This is the commodity Internet. We are not authorized, which means here, if you see the network, is a real one. It's closed. It has its own IPs, connected only to United States. If I would like to talk to Qatar, I have to go to New York, and after I pass to Qatar. If I would like to talk to Morocco, when I did my grid computing training here, it has to go to New York, to Amsterdam, coming to Rabat. And the latency was huge. Now we are doing some brainstorming how we can pass this issue, because most of the universities that are asking for internet, they would like to access Google, YouTube, and something, but in dedicated bandwidth. Anyway, we are providing a dark fiber to universities and the rest of other members with 1 gigabit per second. Believe me, it's a huge in the meaning of this area in the world. Some of the universities are really benefiting from this one. They are using it heavily. Some other universities, they are asking for which usage I have to have 1 gigabit per second. We have basic services, NTP, DNS. I will not go through this, but I will mention the services where we benchmark with other giants in the world and what we are doing on this one. We are not only for universities. If you see in the brochure, they said network for universities. No. We are serving universities. We are serving K-12. And we will serve museums. We will serve zoos. And we will serve public libraries and health services for research. Why we are doing this one? To enhance the knowledge, to let people work together. Zoo, we will do a project to inject IP cameras in zoos and do live streaming to schools. Instead of the children travel to the zoo, they have a real life demonstration of this kind of activities. For museums, we are also in contract to have the 3D visit. Why we are doing this one is not in detriment of visiting, but we have 4 or 6 months in the year, the temperature is more than 40 degrees. And you see for pupils, sometimes it's very dangerous to go outside. Good. We were honored last year to be one of the best ICT projects in United Arab Emirates, and we were asked to go to WSIS in Geneva and to present Ankabut as a model for the UAE. Something also we are proud of it. We created the library consortium. I think some, for you, doesn't sound that is a big issue. For me, it is a big achievement that we have done. I will give you the study. I have some slides. But for the first time in life in UAE, you see 9 presidents of universities are on the stage with the Minister of Higher Education signing an MOU together. And this is after 1 full year of work and to convince the library directors, to convince the authorities that it is important. This is the unique consortium at this large. Now, let's benchmark. I would like to benchmark with, yes, 5 minutes only? Thank you. Good. I will not benchmark. OK. But let's see here. The usage. Europe is achieving 700 terabytes in usage for research activities. We are close to 0. Really, we are close to 0. This is the benchmark. This is a really very shocking slide we are always showing to our community in UAE. Because this is not Ankabut responsibility. This is the community itself, that they have to come together and work together. Let's see here. We are the unique IPv6 operational network in the region. And UAE University is the unique university fully operational IPv6. And this is here, the topology. We have 6 core switches serving the main cities in the country. And here we are connected to Internet 2 via Fujairah. One of the results we have here, we give this network to one university. It has multi-campuses. They reduce the cost, the billing cost of the ISPs to 60% and only using our network. Now, which type of services we have? We have disaster recovery, backup solutions. We are impacting also some ideas on the educational cloud in the country. This is to serve the community on the cloud and to be in the state-of-the-art technology integrations. We have unified communication. We have, as I said, the consortium of libraries called IFADA, okay? Virtual classroom, high-performance computing, grid computing certification authority. Let's go to the main only. I will not go through everything. Here, we worked a lot to connect more than 400 schools to our network. But not only to connect, this is to give them services. As here you see, we are in tight negotiation with the giant of the learning management system. Video conferencing, we did the video conference as we have it in Europe, and in the United States, nobody uses it. They don't like to use an IP address in connecting each other. They said we would like to have a Skype-wise model. And this is where here you see, actually we are working, and in September it will be operational. A full cloud unified communication for our end users. And here the stakeholders of unified communication. Library consortium, this is the main services, but see here the slide. Every year, for the survey of last year only, 10 main universities in UAE, not all universities, 10 million. The operation cost of libraries is more than 100 million dirham, which means about $30 million per year. And coming to the consortium, it will come to reduce the cost to 40% at least, which means the rest of the money will inject it in research and resource buying. High performance computing is important. We did the grid computing. You talked about grid computing. Our site was shiny. The European used our site, but nobody from us. It was a big problem here. What we have to do, we said, no, let's go it in the other way around. Let's build a small cluster of high performance computing, and let's train the researchers how to use parallel programming, how to use high performance computing in an efficient way. And we will conduct a training with Intel in September with the researchers, and we have a cluster open. Even at home, you can enter via website as a cloud, and you can do your calculations. Grid computing, as I said here, and you see here, the UAE is the only shiny site, but we set it down. Why? Because we have not enough resources to support, and would like that the community, the internal community, use it. Research and social responsibility. We did some projects here, and you see here for students of universities are coming also to use our resources. Now, what we are doing this year, federated identity is very important if I would like to aggregate to Europe, and for the single sign-on, all this stuff, as you hear. Eduroam is very important because most of the schools and universities are turning to be wireless medium of devices for classroom, which means here is very important when we are going from one school to another, the wireless LAN should be always with the devices. And here, this is our way of developing our project management, full project management. We have 8 services to deploy for this year, which is good. Now, I come to the end. Our end is to give you what we would like to do for next year. It's not a vision, it's a reality. We have a data center. We built a data center, state-of-the-art data center, Tier 3, and it will be inaugurated next week. Why? We are few people only, Ankabut, but we are building a big data center for the community and to build the educational cloud on it. This is very important. Why? Because the ISPs are taking a lot of money in the colocation and the disaster recovery for the end users, but we are telling them, come to us. We are a non-profit organization, and we don't need your money. We need your collaboration. We need your projects. We are building the knowledge hub. It's very important here. You see, this is a real ecosystem for education and research. Here we have the government and the industry to be involved in this project, creating the Center of Excellence on High-Performance Computing and the Cloud Computing to serve the community in higher education and in K-12 and other stakeholders, and here to create incubations. Create incubation, create the inventors made in UAE is very important, and also to be collaborative with the rest of the world. How to be collaborative in the rest of the world? What we have done, that 3 weeks ago, we went to United States and we signed an MOU with Internet2 to make the UAE the hub of knowledge, which means in the free zone in one of the cities, we'll put the exchange, let the cable coming from New York for Internet2, let the cable coming from Giant, and let cable coming from Team 3, and here the model. And let's serve UbuntuNet. Let's serve Azran. Let's serve also the neighbored country. I think one of the engineers of UbuntuNet in Washington, he said, we are paying a lot of money in coming to Fujairah. Why? Because we are talking to the ISP. Why you are not there? Now we will be there with very cost effective for everybody. But adding to it, not only for network, we are bringing the services of Internet to be present in this part of the world to serve UbuntuNet, to serve Azran, to serve also the other countries, and to create this community of knowledge and distribution of knowledge in the rest of the world. This is exactly what we are doing. We are not member of Ankabut, of Azran. We will be, inshallah, we will be soon. But we are involving a lot our efforts to make Azran as a success for the rest of the region. Thank you very much.